When you begin your Shopify trial, you have 14 days to get a store up and running before you have to start paying. So how exactly do you make the most time out of these 14 days? I'm gonna tell you how. Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Zach, and if you're new to the channel, learn all the secrets of the e-commerce world simply by subscribing to my channel and hitting that little bell icon so you don't miss anything. And in this video, I'm covering the topic of the Shopify free trial because this is something that people just generally take for granted and don't really see the massive potential that it carries to really allow them to succeed in this, because it gives you 14 days to set up your business, to get everything in line before you have to start paying for the plan. So in this 14 days, you really want to make sure you have all your ducks in the row and you're not just kind of lollygagging around and then you have to start cutting into your actual paid plan time still setting up the store. So in this video, I'm going to focus on some very important points that you're going to want to focus on while in your Shopify trial. And remember, this is only 14 days, but it's very easy to do all this stuff when you actually know what to do. So I'm going to kind of go down in chronological order. Basically, the way to get the most out of this trial, and because of the fact that it's time sensitive, is you really want to make a good plan before you actually jump into things. And this just makes sense when you think about it, right? You're given 14 days to execute. You really don't want to use that time on stuff that could have been done before you actually started your trial, right? It just doesn't make sense why you would cut into your trial and then be like, okay, what do I want to do? That's just totally dumb. So before you actually get your Shopify trial, which I have a link to my referral code in the description below if you want to get it from me, you really want to make sure that you have a bunch of these different things planned, and here's what they are. First of all, you want to think about what niche you want to sell in, and this is ridiculously important. The niche that you are selling in determines every single other step that you're going to be taking to making and marketing your website. Like, every single niche is marketed and presented in a different way. So determining what niche you actually want to sell in is the very first step that you need to determine. And it's not a very easy thing to do for a lot of people. You may not have a passion that's very easily sellable that you can just jump right into. You need to think a little bit. You need to do a little bit of research. And I would highly recommend doing this before you actually start your trial, because then you'll actually know what direction you need to take things. If you're just jumping in blind, you really can't make any progress without knowing what niche you want to sell in. Next, you kind of want to get a plan and an idea for what items you actually want to import to your store. So this is actually very important as well, because a lot of people spend a lot of unnecessary time searching around AliExpress trying to find items to put on their website when they totally could have determined this beforehand. And additionally, when you do determine this beforehand, it just makes things a lot more streamlined, a lot less cluttered, and it's just better for you overall. Now, when you're doing this, you'll probably want to split your products into several different categories beforehand, and this once again just streamlines the entire process of going into AliExpress, finding the products, and actually adding them to your store. Having 3, 4, 5 different categories on your store will first of all just make things a lot more orderly when you actually get your store up and running. It'll also make things a lot easier for you to go into AliExpress and find the products when there are just a few different categories that you're looking in, not just the entire general niche. So it's very important, if you're not planning out the very specific items that you're going to add, at least get some categories that you're going to be looking for. This is going to save a lot of heartache. Next, and this is immensely important, you need to make sure that you determine your target audience for your website and get an idea for how you're going to best appeal to them. And this is something, as an internet marketer and an internet retailer, you really need to make sure that you understand. If you don't know your audience, you are going to fail horrendously. This is one of the worst things that you can possibly do. You need to do a lot of research on your audience before you jump into things. And this is a bit of a lengthy process. So this is definitely something I'd recommend doing before starting your Shopify trial. Now, there's a bunch of ways that you can actually do some audience research before jumping into things. You can just go on basic social media and see who's posting about it. You can go into Facebook's business tools and you can actually look at the demographics of audiences that engage with certain interests. There's a ton of different tools out there to allow you to get an idea for the type of people that you will be appealing to. And additionally, there's a lot of ways for you to know what kind of information they really respond to, so that you can take that idea of the information and use it on your own business, right? If successful businesses already exist selling to these people with these similar products, why not just take what works from them and use it for you? Obviously you want to tweak it a little bit, but the same idea stands, and it's going to save you so much time having to start from scratch when you can just find the audience exactly, get a very good idea for what they respond well to, and then move on from there and base the entirety of your website around it. And this plays largely into store design. When you have an idea for the audience that you're really trying to market and sell to, you can then go on to base your store around what they would best respond to. Different color themes, different images, different ways that you actually write the descriptions. Everything, you can have a very good idea for everything once you actually know who you're selling to, because you have to base the descriptions in a certain way, you have to just take the pictures in a certain way, you have to present the products in a certain order, right? And it'll make a lot more sense when you're actually doing these things. But when you do understand the audience that you're trying to sell to, setting up the website is going to go like this, instead of spending days and days tweaking things and trying to figure out what works best. And then fourth, and this is something people neglect, and you really don't think about it when you are actually creating your store, because people see it as kind of separate. But before you begin your trial, you really want to make sure that you have a very solid advertising plan before jumping into things. Not only will having a decent understanding of how your advertising is going to look like affect your ability to craft your store in a similar way, so that there's a very consistent user experience throughout everything. It'll additionally allow you to straight up jump into selling as soon as your trial ends, right? What people do in the Shopify trial is they generally just create the store, and then they're like, okay, I'm ready to launch. They launch it, and then they spend a few days trying to figure out what ads to run, how to actually do ads, and this is entire wasted time. You don't want to do this at all. You want to make sure you have this done beforehand, so that when you are immediately finished, you're like, okay, I have my audiences picked out, I know what products I'm going to sell, I know like these certain like captions for the advertisements, the different price points, where I'm actually going to advertise them. Having this idea is going to make things so much easier, and it's going to lower your stress, because you're not going to be like, oh my god, I'm wasting money here not knowing what I'm going to do. Just get it done beforehand, right? Because you're not paying money before you actually start the trial. Time is not of the essence. You just want to make sure that you're getting everything done possible that you can do before actually starting your trial and getting that storefront. There's so many conceptual things that you can get done beforehand, and once you have them done, designing your store, you can do that easily within 14 days, and that's pretty much all you need to do. And you can use that time to really make sure your product captions are good, your descriptions, your images, all that is on point before actually purchasing the plan and launching it. You won't waste any time, you won't waste any money, and you'll be ridiculously happy. So if you do want to claim a Shopify 14-day trial for absolutely free, I have a link to that down in the description below. I also have a link to my course down there, shows you how to start a profitable Shopify business. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed what I said and how I said it. Check out those videos over there for more ideas what to watch, and I will see you guys in my next video.